In this episode, I'm slowing things down and answering a bunch of viewer questions, but stick around to the end because I'm going to reveal another brand new card. Well, hello, all of you beautiful people out there in Minecraft land. Windsword experienced kinetic energy. That guy dies a lot. He's got 63 deaths on the server. Anyway, welcome back to another very exciting episode on the IgnitorSMP server. My name is Vid, and today is a very exciting episode because we're in the Matrix. Actually, that's not at all why this is an exciting episode. This is actually an exciting episode because this is an Ask Me Anything episode. That's right. I asked you guys on Twitter and on the fan Discord and all over the place to send me some questions, and I've compiled a list of over 60 questions, and I'm going to get through as many as I can. I randomized the order of the questions, and while I am doing that, I'm going to build. Check this out. I have got about 49 shulker boxes here, full of materials, and that is what you're looking at right here. This is a schematic, in case you hadn't figured it out already. So this isn't real. I can actually just fall right through it if I want to, but I'm not going to because I might hurt myself on the redstone below. I'm going to start building that today, and while I'm building, I'm going to answer a bunch of questions. So let's just jump into it. Question number 1 comes from Dark John, one of the IgnitorSMP server members, and he asks, what do you think the future holds for IgnitorSMP? Great question, Dark. I think the future for IgnitorSMP is going to be very much the same as the present and the past of IgnitorSMP, but better, if you know what I mean. I think there's going to be a lot of members that join the server. I think there's going to be a few members that leave the server. I think there's going to be big builds. I think there's going to be small builds. I think there's going to be mini games, camaraderie. I think there's going to be crossovers. I think there's going to be a lot of mini games and mega games. All of the things that kind of make IgnitorSMP great, I think are going to continue into the future. Do you have any hobbies? And if so, what are they? This might be kind of weird for some people, but I don't have a lot of hobbies. I'm the kind of person who gets very obsessed with something for a very short time, and then gets obsessed with something else. And it doesn't even have to be a short time. Like take IgnitorSMP or Minecraft in general, for that matter. I had a friend tell me many years ago, don't get into Minecraft, because if you do, you'll get obsessed. And so I didn't. Actually, when Minecraft came out, I kind of was casually aware of it and didn't really take any notice or interest at all until I started watching Hermitcraft and some of the other creators on YouTube making Minecraft videos, and I decided to jump into Minecraft like full force, and I haven't stopped. Like literally, I've been playing this game like crazy ever since. Hobbies, which is what back to the question that you asked. I don't really have a lot of hobbies outside of the things I do sitting in front of my computer. I guess I bought a house recently, and so that's become kind of my new obsession / hobby. I do, lawn care. I cut my grass. That's a hobby, right? I do that every Saturday. I have a hot tub. A hot tub, I don't know if you know this, but that actually takes a lot of time and maintenance. You've got to do, it doesn't take a lot of time. You just got to think about it a little bit. And I spent a lot of time kind of researching and figuring out what to do with my hot tub and how that works and exactly what all of the chemicals do and when to add chlorine and how to boost your pH if that gets too high or how to stabilize the alkalinity. So that's a hobby, I guess. Things like that. I don't really have anything beyond that. I mostly just play Minecraft. How do you plan / make your episodes? This might come as a bit of a surprise. I don't do a lot of planning. I probably should do a lot more planning for my episodes. A lot of times I hit record and I have only a vague understanding of what I'm going to do for the episodes, which is why I've started to tack that little intro bit on the front of my episodes. Like, in this episode, I'm going to do this, because I can record that at the end after I've done whatever I've done. And it kind of informs the audience what I'm going to be doing, and it makes it seem like I know what I'm going to be doing, even if I have no idea when I actually hit record. In terms of the actual production of the episodes, I shouldn't say I don't have any plans. Usually I have a good idea of what I'm going to do in an episode. Like I know, like, oh, I'm going to make a raid farm, or I'm going to make a cactus farm or something. And so I will set out with the general idea of doing that. You know, like maybe, okay, there'll be a little bit of me collecting materials and then a little bit of me building. Then maybe I'll get sidetracked and have to go have a conversation about, I don't know, my shop or something. And then I'm back to building or checking out the redstone or something, you know. And that's kind of the way the episodes flow. What computer games did you play or enjoy most as a kid? I would say, a pretty lucky kid. This is going to date me a little bit, but I had some kind of cool video game systems when I was young. I actually had one of the Telstar Pong games. So this was like the large, like wood-paneled console that you hooked up to your TV and you could play Pong. I didn't use it very much because, honestly, you know, you play Pong for 10 minutes and you kind of get bored. But I was inspired to get some of the other systems, or bug my parents to get me these other systems, like Atari, for instance. Got the Atari 2600. I loved this game called Adventure. If you ever get a chance, look it up. It's fun. It's basically like a maze crawler. You're running through a maze. You've got to go to different castles. You've got to fight your way through monsters, find keys, fight a dragon. But it's all in this, like, you know, 8-bit style. Yeah, pretty cool, fun game. And then I got a Commodore 64, and that changed everything. So I don't know what my favorite game for that was. I can't really think of any right now, but I know I played the heck out of the Commodore 64. Lots of games for that. What does your recording setup look like? Well, it looks like this. As you can see, I have a brand new desk. I just got this less than 2 months ago. Wooden top, beautiful. I've got 3 monitors. I've got a Blue Yeti microphone that sits right in front of me while I'm recording. I've got foam paneling on my walls to keep the sound good. I have a laptop, which I only use for controlling OBS while I'm live streaming. It's also my work laptop, so that's not all I use it for, but it's there. I also recently hung my diplomas up, so that's pretty cool. When you plan a build, say the casino from Season 2, how do you plan? That's a great question. So specifically for the casino, what I did was I went into my creative test world and I started drawing shapes. I had a very vague idea of what I wanted. I knew I wanted it to be kind of an L shape with a tall tower in the back, and then I wanted these 2 sort of pieces that jutted out in the front. But beyond that, I really had no idea. So I went into creative mode. World Edit is my friend. I love World Edit. That's pretty much how I plan everything. I just started drawing shapes, you know, drew a few squares, drew a big circle, and then I, you know, cut some pieces out from other pieces with like Boolean type stuff. Made everything solid to begin with, and then ran the hollow command to hollow everything out. It's really easy to build that way. You should try it sometimes. Pretty cool. And then texturing, for me, again, it's very mathematical. It's very World Edit. I use commands to just texture my builds. So I should probably spend more time texturing, but I don't know. Nobody got time for that. Different people play in different ways. I'd rather just mathematically texture my stuff. What has been your favorite project so far in your time on Ignitor? That's easy. Hands down, it has been this game, Relic Runner, that I'm creating right now, this season. It's an enormous redstone contraption. I get a huge amount of satisfaction from building a redstone machine that actually works. That's going to sound silly, but like, you have no idea how long it takes sometimes in creative. If you're a redstone person, you put redstone wire down and you think, oh, this will work, and then you try to make it a little bit smaller and you end up breaking something, and then you end up in a position where, you know, you're trying to stack things side by side and you break something else because 2 pieces interact. But when you can get something that's both the size you want it to be, uses the approximately right number of components, and it does what you want it to do, and it works, man, that's the best feeling in the world. And building a machine that's as complicated as the machine I've built this season to run Relic Runner, it's made me so happy. So that's easily, hands down, my favorite project. Are you excited about Minecraft 1.21? Honestly, not really. I mean, maybe that's kind of cynical or pessimistic. I think this is a weird one for me because somebody asked me a long time ago if I could add one thing to Minecraft, what will it be? And it was easy, auto-crafting. That was all I wanted, was the auto-crafter block. That was my pat answer for years and years and years, and they added it. And it was something that I really thought they would never add to Minecraft, and they added it. And I've been playing with it like crazy, played with it. I've added it specifically to my gold farm. That's where I wanted it, like more than anything, because I didn't want to have to craft gold anymore. After that, it's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm tapped out of all the excitement I needed for Minecraft 1.21. I mean, the mace, I don't really care. Armadillos, you know, new dogs, sure, fantastic. Trial chambers, I mean, a lot of people are really excited about the trial chambers. Me, I honestly, I mean, I'll give it a try. I think it'll be fun once. That's what I think. But I mean, I felt kind of the same way about some of the trail ruins and the stuff in the last update. Just it's fun to explore one time, and then after that, you're kind of bored. I have a feeling that the trial chambers are going to be mostly used for people who want to harvest large amounts of copper. That's pretty much it. Do you think Minecraft will still be as popular in 3 or 5 or 10 years' time? No. That's really, again, kind of pessimistic. But do I think it'll still be as popular in 3 years? Yes. 5 years? Probably. 10 years? I'm not convinced of that. And the main reason is because, not that Mojang's doing a bad job or anything, it's just that the game is changing in fundamental ways that are making it more easy for Minecraft, Mojang, and Microsoft to make money. They're really pushing the Bedrock version of the game. Because it's multi-platform, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is because all of the things that modding has given Java Edition for years, they're now introducing in the form of marketplace purchased items. And that, for me anyway, it's going to kill the game. I'm not really interested in spending a lot of money on things like cosmetics. It's just not the thing I want. I love the ability that I have right now to customize the game. And unfortunately, I know that's not profitable for Microsoft and Mojang, because they're, for my dollars, you know, I'm spending my $30 one time to get the game and never paying again because the mods are all free. So do I think Java will die? Yes, that's a question that wasn't asked, but I actually think at some point they will kill the Java edition. Yes, it's the most popular version, but like, we're talking long term. We're talking like 10 years from now when they, you know, eventually they'll stop developing for that. Let's say, you know, Minecraft 1.25 might be the last Java edition that they ever release. And then they'll just say, you know what, sorry, we're going to keep updating Bedrock Edition, but we're just not going to release updates for Java anymore. And then slowly they'll remove support for Java, and then it'll be gone one day, you know, and the people who are kind of relying on playing the Java Edition will keep playing, and they won't have the newest updates, and the game will just, you know, still be there, but it will fade away. So do I think it'll still be as popular in 10 years? I'm not sure. I really am not sure. What was your first original Redstone build? Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea. I have built a lot of Redstone things, but the funny thing is, I haven't actually been like a Redstone master for the longest time. Back near the beginning of IgnitorSMP Season 2, I built the machine that would allow you to convert diamonds into Vidcoin, and then Vidcoin back into diamonds. It's basically the same machine, just with a different item in the filter. And I remember spending like hours in the creative test world because I had a very specific goal in mind. I really wanted to make it one wide. I don't know why I wanted to make it one wide. I did. And I wanted to be flush with the wall so that you could have a single barrel, and you could put items into that barrel, and it would automatically take the one type of item out and then replace the new item into the same barrel. That was my goal, and I spent a long time making that work. My first like 4 or 5 attempts just couldn't do it. I had it, in a corner, and that was working. But I really wanted to do this kind of one wide, and I really wanted to make it all so that it worked with the same barrel in one space. And after doing it, I was really proud of myself. So I think that's really the first time I was able to really think through a Minecraft original build and make it my own. What's it like being the admin of a content creator SMP? It's a lot of work. It's a lot more work than you might think. On the surface, you have to, talk to people, make sure that everyone's happy on the server. You need to make sure that everyone is, getting what they want out of the server. And you also have to do things like making sure the server stays up to date. So keeping all the resource packs updated and the mods updated and the server and the newest version and that sort of thing. You've also got to manage incoming applications. So a lot of the work I do behind the scenes is pouring through people's applications, because we do get a lot of people that apply to the server. And I look at every single one of them. I look, in detail. I look at their channel. I look at their videos. I make recommendations to the other members. Sometimes some of the other members beat me to it. But ultimately, I'm the guy who has to send all the emails. So, and I try to tell people really specifically why, if they're being rejected from the server. I don't like to just, when somebody applies, like, oh, hey, let me into the server. I don't like to say, like, no, you're just not a good fit for the server. That's that's the hardest answer to give. I like to tell people, what they should work on or why they were rejected. So that takes some work. Most of the time, it's a pretty easy job to manage the members on the server, because we're all mature. And we all talk when we have a problem. And so managing the people, we don't ever fight amongst each other. Like, very rarely are there any disagreements. And when there are, usually we just talk it through and people concede and, people compromise, and that's okay, because you can't always have it your way all of the time. It's pretty rare that somebody actually gets their feelings hurt or something, though, but it does happen once in a while. And then you've got to talk to those people and just make sure everybody's okay with the way things went down. What, in your own words, does vanilla Minecraft mean? For me, vanilla Minecraft is approachable Minecraft. That is, when we say, for example, at IgnitorSMP, that we try to make a vanilla-like experience. What we mean by that is we want people to be able to replicate what we do. So the types of redstone machines we build, the types of mini games that we play, and the types of interactions that we have on our server, you could do on any server with your friends. You could start your own server, you could start your own realm, you could really do the same kinds of things we do. The one way that we do shy away from that a little bit is with the custom models and the custom elytra. But the nice thing about that is we're not changing any of the functionality of the game, so we're not giving new features to any item. We're just making it look different. So it's like taking an existing tool and putting a new coat of paint on it, giving it a fresh look, which just allows us to tell stories better, rather than using a sunflower as a coin, for example. We can retexture that and make it into an actual coin. It's still a sunflower. You've still got to go out and you've got to collect sunflowers, so it's not like we're adding items out of nowhere into the air. I like to use iron nuggets because I have an iron farm and I can really easily turn my iron ingots into iron nuggets. Then I can retexture iron nuggets, and then I have plentiful items, whatever I need. And then all I need is levels in order to rename items. But all of that has to be done. So it's not like we're in creative mode and we're summoning items in. We're all playing in survival. So in that regard, it's actually approachable, like I said. And if somebody downloads our world download, for instance, they can actually download our texture packs as well. So they can open up our world, they can use our texture pack, and they can do the same types of things that we are already doing in the world. So that's what vanilla is all about for me. And we got a big question from Cubically here. If, for whatever reason, you must start over on YouTube, would you still do Minecraft videos? If yes, would you change anything? Branding, types of videos, etc.? If no, what would you do instead? And what would you call your channel? Being a content creator for me is very secondary in my life. I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I have another job in the real world, and I have other things that I like to do in the real world. Working and going out with friends and doing all those things. And Minecraft is the thing that I do to relieve stress out of my day. It's just a video game that I come and play, and I don't have to think about work or the other stresses of regular life. I make videos because I learned how to make videos many years ago. I actually ran my own video production company for like many years, actually as my job. I owned a store and everything. And we ended up closing the store, but during that time, I made videos for clients for money. So I'm a professional video producer. I learned how to edit, all self-taught. And just because I know how to make videos, and because I'm going to play Minecraft anyway, I'm making videos. And because YouTube as a platform exists, I post those videos on YouTube. So the question is, if I had to start over on YouTube, would I still make Minecraft videos? Yeah, I guess so. Let's say my channel got deleted. I'm still going to play Minecraft, and I might as well make videos on it. So yeah, I would still do Minecraft videos. Would I change my branding? I don't know. That's a weird question. If I had to start over, I guess I could back up a little bit and say I have started over on YouTube. I've started over a couple times on YouTube. I actually started a Minecraft channel using my real name way back in 2020, and actually I think it was before that. Might have been like as early as 2017 that I started making videos on YouTube. And then I decided to rebrand and go with the VidMC, and so I've changed everything. And so yes, I guess the answer is maybe, yes, I would. If you were to have as much money as you desired to make one investment and one investment only, what would it be and why? I don't know. Zero, I'm not an investment banker. I don't know anything about money and managing money. I don't know, maybe I'd invest in Google or something? Like, since I have an unlimited amount of money, do I get to go back in time and invest in Google before they were a big thing, or Microsoft, or Tesla or something? If you were to have as much money as you desired, I'm just rereading the question here. If I had money, I wouldn't invest my money. I would just put it in the bank and live off the interest. That's the answer right there. What is your favorite dad joke? I can't think of one offhand, so I'm going to look one up. Okay, I found one. I like this one. Rest in peace, boiling water. You will be missed. Why does IgnitorSMP have such a high bar for quantity of content in order to join and remain a member? Obviously quality too, but that part is obvious. We wanted to have a content requirement just so that there is always something for the audience to watch. It's so easy for an SMP to die just out of the blue because people stop making content. That's exactly what happens. People don't enjoy making content on the SMP anymore. They've done all the things that they wanted to do, and they fall off. And when that happens, there's less people to play with, and then other people fall off. And the next thing you know, the whole SMP dies. We don't want IgnitorSMP to die. We want it to keep going, and for that reason, we want people to be on the server, and for that reason, we have a content requirement. The logic there is if you have to make a video, then you have to be on the server. And if you have to be on the server, then when, people log in to make their content, they will find other people on the server, and everyone has a shared goal of we have to make content. And just that push actually produces some really good stuff. Now, admittedly, not everybody can handle that. It's a very big ask, especially for people who are not full-time creators. You know, some people have a full-time job, or they go to school, or they have other commitments, and they really have a hard time making that level of quality and quantity of content. But we do have, it's funny because I kind of go back and forth in my mind about whether our content requirement is a very high quantity requirement. We require our members to make a video at least every 14 days, a video or live stream. So either or, every 2 weeks you've got to make some content. Now, different people have different opinions about this, but my opinion has kind of always been, if you can't do a video every 2 weeks, you're probably not a content creator, right? Or, you know, maybe you should consider, you know, a different career path. If you really want to be a content creator, then making a video every 2 weeks should be something that you just do anyway. Now, that said, some of our members and some people prefer to take longer to make their videos because they want to have a really high quality video every time. Like, for example, you can't, you know, place 100,000 blocks every single episode every 2 weeks. It's just impossible. Just from a sheer logistics point of view, you've got to sleep at some point, or you're going to burn yourself out like crazy. And, you know, having a content requirement of 2 weeks, it allows us to not burn out, but also to stay on target. Make sure that we are producing videos in a reasonable amount of time, and we're getting out to the audience what the audience needs from us, and we're getting practice ourselves in keeping up with a timeline. So that's why we have the content requirement. Some of us have no problem at all. For a long time, I was producing a video every single week, and I know several other members do the same thing. Recently, only because I bought the house recently, I've dropped to more of a 2-week schedule, but I fully intend to get back up to a weekly schedule once things kind of calm down with everything I'm doing right now. Lord Thaddeus asks, who is your favorite former Igniter who has a suave beard and may have been a Supreme Chancellor? I will have to think about that one and get back to you on that. Of course, it's you, Lord Thaddeus. You are so awesome. Come back to us. Come back. Where do you get your intro music from? All of my intro music, all of my music in general, it's all from the YouTube library. You just go to YouTube, you go to YouTube Studio, and then you go to, I think it's like Audio Library or Music Library, whatever. All of my music is from YouTube. It's all copyright free. You never have to worry about getting copyright claimed or anything like that. I've never had a copyright claim ever on any music because it's all from the YouTube library. On a scale of 1 to 13, how much do you like beetroots? You know, even if I didn't have the name of the person on that post, I would know who it was from. So there's two answers to that question. In Minecraft, how much do I like beetroots? Or in real life, how much do I like beetroots? Because in real life, that's like lower than a 0. I don't like beets or beetroot at all. It tastes like dirt to me. It's the only vegetable, root vegetable that tastes like dirt. Like, honestly, I bite into a beet, or, you know, you cook the heck out of it, whatever you have to do to a beet. Some people say they're sweet, and I'm thinking, like, are you crazy? Like, do you have different beets in different parts of the world? Beets are gross. I just don't like them. I'm sorry. In Minecraft, that's also very low. So, admittedly, I do like what beetroots look like when they're planted in a field. I think that, like, flash of red is really cool, especially if you do several different kinds of fields. Like, you do a field of wheat, a field of carrots, a field of beetroots. They all look great together, which is pretty cool. So for that reason, I would give, you know, a 2 out of 13 to beetroots. In terms of food, yeah, don't even bother. They're not useful for any other thing. Don't eat them. Don't make them into soup. don't do anything with them. Just throw them in the garbage. Beetroots are useless. What does it mean to you to be an Ignitor? At the risk of sounding ultra cheesy here, I think the correct answer to that question is it feels like being part of a family. I know that's probably been said many, many times about many different organizations or whatever, but I really feel that way. When a new member joins, I go out of my way to make that person feel like they've found a new home. I promote gift giving to new members, whatever they want anyway. Sometimes we get a little bit carried away and over gift new members, but also really involving new members in projects that we're working on, finding out what they're interested in doing, finding out what they're good at, and then, encouraging them to basically explore and become a part of what we do, as well as being able to kind of shine on their own and offer what they bring to the table so that we can all enjoy it. It's about community, it's about togetherness, and I really like it. Like, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world when a new member joins IgnitorSMP, and unfortunately it's one of the greatest terrors. Terrors is the wrong word. It's heartbreaking when a member leaves the server. We've had members that come on the server and then they just decide for whatever reason either they can't meet the content requirements, or maybe this just wasn't the right server for them, or whatever. And they leave the server, and it hurts every single time. And you can see some builds and stuff left behind by some of those members. We don't talk about it on camera when a member leaves the server. We have a policy where we basically just don't talk about them anymore. They're just gone. And I think that's really for the best. But it does hurt individually to all of us when something like that happens. If Ignitor did another crossover event, what other SMP would you love to see other than Hermitcraft, because that's way too easy? Yeah, that would be easy. I'd love to do something with Hermitcraft, although I have a feeling Hermitcraft would get very little out of a collaboration with IgnitorSMP, just based on the size difference. I think that's actually the answer. I'd like to collaborate with another SMP that is a similar size to Ignitor. Maybe a little bit bigger than Ignitor, just so that we could, try to take some advantage of the extra promotion. But really, any SMP, even if they're a little smaller, it's going to be fine, because your audiences are going to be different, and just that difference in audiences being introduced to your content can be huge in some regards. I really enjoyed the crossover that we did with Unorthoblocks back in Season 2. I did feel it was way too short. We had a week, and for people like me who record their episode and edit their episode and publish their episode in a whole week, I felt like I didn't have any time to do the kind of stuff that I wanted to do on that server. I had a couple collabs, I did a tour, and I did a build based on some materials that people gave me, and that was it. And then I was done, and I had to leave just because the whole collab was over. I know some other members and some Unorthoblocks people, and even some Ignitors for that matter, recorded just everything. They recorded, and then over the next several weeks, or in some cases months, they were releasing episodes from the crossover. That's just not the way I work. I like to be able to do something in the time it takes to do it and release it immediately, because I subscribe to the adage that if it's not new, it's not news. Which basically means if I can't publish something the week it happens, then I'm probably not going to publish it. There have been a few times where I've recorded something and then banked it for much later, but every single time it has been because some other member has wanted me to hold on to that video and not release because it gives away a spoiler, or because it's not quite time for that event yet. We had a thing happen in Season 2 where I made a secret deal with somebody months before that deal came out, and so I kind of held on to that footage. But that's rare. That's like I said, 1 in a million that I would actually do that. Most of the time, I record my stuff for the episode that I'm currently working on, and then I release that episode, and that's done. I don't look back. And I try to publish an episode every week or every 2 weeks, and so that means that my footage is always new. So if we were to do another crossover event, I'd really like to see more time available on the other server, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, so that we could really establish ourselves with the other server, really, have the time to make friends and not only do the tours, but, do some resource collection, do some early game grind, get kitted and do a build and actually make some progress on another server, so that it really felt like we were somewhere else and we weren't just, on vacation. I don't know. That's just my opinion. How do new people get to join IgnitorSMP? Well, there's actually 2 answers to that. One is the simple answer and one is the more complicated answer. The simple answer is you go to IgnitorSMP.com and you apply. But don't do that. I'm telling you right now, do not go to our website and apply, because 95 or more % of the people who apply do not get in. The way to join IgnitorSMP is to join our Discord, our fan Discord, and talk to us. Just join the community, and eventually we'll check you out. IgnitorSMP is as close to being an invite-only server as you can get without actually being invite-only. We do have an application, and the main reason we have it is this. We did switch our server to invite-only for a period of about 6 months, way back near the beginning of Season 2. And the hope was that people would, our members, that is, would seek out other creators, find them, and invite them to our server. But the reality is, nobody had the time or the enthusiasm to actively search out new members. And so very few people actually got invited during that time. In fact, I'm not sure if anybody actually got invited. There were maybe 1 or 2 people that were tossed around as potential candidates, and then the rest of us kind of reviewed them. But then the question became, well, do you think they would accept if we invited them? Because they're already, fairly established creators. Some of them have a long-standing single-player world that they're playing in, and we weren't really sure whether these people would accept our invitation if we did. The bottom line is, the application is an easy way for us to judge interest in our server. If we mention to another creator, hey, we're interested in having you on the server, and if you're interested, just come to our website and apply. That's the easiest way for us to do it. But the general public mass number of people who are just players watching a stream or something and think, hey, I play Minecraft, maybe I could join this server, you're not going to get in. We have strict content requirements. I've mentioned this before, but you have to make a video every 14 days. You have to have been making videos for a while. We want to see early game, mid game, and late game content from people. We don't want people who, jump on the server and rush in the first 2 weeks, and they get Elytra and they get Netherite and they kill the Ender Dragon, and then they don't know what to do. And that is, I think, a big reason why other SMPs fail, because people don't know how to play Minecraft after they've done the Minecraft things. And so we really stress about finding people that know how to play and how to play with other people in the same style that we play the game. What is your favorite feature from 1.21? I know these questions are kind of random, and I already answered this a while ago, but I'll reiterate it again. I like the auto-crafter. I like the new blocks, like the tough blocks and the tough variants. I think that's pretty cool. I think I'd like to try the trial chambers, maybe once or twice. That's it. Maybe I'll experiment. I'll try everything. I will play with the new dogs and the armadillos and the Mace. But really, it's just more stuff that I probably will never use again after the first couple of weeks of being in 1.21. Really, for me, there's one or two items that come out of every update that are really useful and long-term useful. And so for me, the Autocrafter is the thing. Now, we on IgnitorSMP already have the Autocrafter because we added it as part of experimental features back a couple months ago. And we've been using it with great success. So when 1.21 comes out, for me personally, I'm not sure whether there's going to be a great amount of excitement. Multi-part question from Blue Wolf. How big do you think IgnitorSMP will get, player and community? Do you think it will be the next Hermitcraft? Do you think the views on everyone's channel and Igniter videos will go up? And do you think it's possible that Ignitor will die? Let's answer these one at a time here. How big do you think IgnitorSMP will get? That's a great question. I'm not really sure. It really depends on, I guess, how long our members stay on the server, how long people stay committed to Ignitor, how long they like our community, and really, the amount of effort and enjoyment that they get from playing on our server, as well as the amount of community and fan base that we establish. And as long as we're making good content, hopefully we will continue to grow. Do you think we'll get as big as Hermitcraft? I'm not sure. That's a really big reach. You know what I mean? Like, it would be great to be on a server that was as big as Hermitcraft, but number one, it's a huge responsibility. And number two, there is such a saturated market of SMP content out there right now that I think it's really easy to overlook some of the smaller guys right now. Which is why I said longevity matters. If we can stick it out, we've been here for 3 seasons now, and I think we're growing at the point where people are gonna start taking notice of us. So I do think we will get much bigger than we are right now. Do you think everyone's views will go up? Yes, absolutely. That's something we've said from the very beginning. If one member succeeds on IgnitorSMP, hopefully that means all members will succeed on IgnitorSMP. We favor collaboration. We like when members interact with each other. And so that means that we're always kind of exposing each other to each other's audiences. So, people watching my videos, for instance, are going to be different than the people watching Dark John's videos, for instance. And so when I interact with Dark, not only am I putting that interaction in my video and all of my audience gets to see Dark and what he's doing, but then he's going to put that interaction in his video and his audience is going to see me and what I'm doing. So it really... it's self-fulfilling when you play on an SMP because everyone is kind of contributing to this whole promotion of each other type thing. Do you think it's possible Ignitor will die? Yes, of course, it's possible. There's really no accounting for what can happen on a server. Sometimes, a big thing will happen and a lot of people take a step back and really think about that. I mean, just to use one example here, unfortunately, we had a member of our server this season who passed away, Fedora Master. He was a young guy. He was very active, and he did have cancer, and we knew it was a possibility, but he did end up passing away. And that affected a lot of members in different ways. You can't just carry on business as usual when something like that happens. There's a lot of time that you have to spend reflecting. There's the immediate stuff you have to do where, you do memorial stuff. You really process what it means to you. And hopefully you do justice to the fans as well. You allow people to grieve with you and to share in the accomplishments that person had. But after that, there comes this kind of lull where you kind of reevaluate your own life and you decide what you want to do next. And sometimes that's, slowing down your content creation, or sometimes that's leaving the server completely. And really, it's going to be hard for us to get back to normality after something like that happens. We've already, we're trying. We're really trying, and you can see in a lot of people they're really inspired and kind of bouncing back, and a few people have taken inspiration from some of the things that Fedora did, and other people not so much. Like I said, this question ultimately was, do you think IgnitorSMP could die? I don't think it's in danger of dying anytime soon. Like, that's the answer I think you might be looking for. Oh, phone noises. Ignitor's not in any danger of dying anytime soon. We are around for a good long time because a lot of us are motivated, a lot of us are really enjoying what we're doing this season, and a lot of us really want to see our projects get finished. So is it possible that Event will die? Yes, it's possible, but not this season. It won't happen for many seasons if it ever happens at all. I think it's most likely that we would end a season and then just never come back for another season. That's kind of what I feel like would happen. But I don't even know if that'd ever happen because, honestly, early game is very exciting for a lot of people. And when we start talking about a new season, I think that's when most of us jump up and be like, oh, I got all these ideas for what I want to do next. So, we'll see. Why do you think there are so few successful Minecraft SMPs out there? There's a few at the top, handful of regular smaller players like Ignitor, Unorthoblocks, Channel 64, etc., and then not much else out there with consistency. Why don't you think the market is there, or why isn't it evenly distributed? I think this has to do with something that I touched on earlier, where there are many, many Minecraft players out there. Minecraft appeals to a very wide range of people, and it takes a very special type of person to join an SMP and be consistent on that SMP. And finding those people and getting them together in one place is a huge challenge because they're spread out all over the place. Many, many people only know the early game to mid-game part of Minecraft because they've done it several times before. They start a single-player world. They mine for iron. They get iron armor. They quickly mine for diamonds. They get diamond armor. They mine for netherite. They get netherite armor. They build an enchanting table. They enchant all their gear. They go fight the ender dragon. They kill the ender dragon. Then maybe they go fight the wither. They get a beacon. And then what? And then they start to get bored of their world. Maybe they do some villager trading, maybe they start some builds, but then they get bored and then they start a new world and they do that same thing over again. And that type of player is not effective on an SMP. The most important criteria for a member to be on an SMP is their ability to tell stories and play Minecraft beyond what Minecraft has to offer. You really need to be able to take the game and make it your own. You need to be able to build, and if you can't build, you need to be able to redstone, and if you can't redstone, you need to be able to at least tell stories. Like I said, come up with, plot lines or storylines or something that the community can support, something that you can involve other players in. And if you could do all of those things, you're going to be one of the best creators that's out there. But finding, 20 of those people and putting them all together in one place is next to impossible. So I think that's why there's very few successful SMPs. I think SMPs pop up because people who want to play on an SMP, people believe that they will do better, make better content playing with other people, and they apply to SMPs and they don't get accepted because they have absolutely no experience playing on an SMP. So they start their own SMP and then they get a bunch of friends together, and those friends aren't really as committed as they are, and so they end up, making a few episodes and then dropping out or making no episodes. It's tough to get on an SMP, and it's tough to find the right people on an SMP, and I think that's why so many SMPs fail, just because there's so many SMPs, and the law of averages is that those people playing just aren't committed. What, in your opinion, is the perfect number of content creators on an SMP? Great question. I think maybe in the 20 to 30 range is a good number. I know Hermitcraft has about 28 people on it right now. IgnitorSMP fluctuates between about 18 and 22. Some of the others have more, some of the others have less. Right now, we're in a good place. I would like to have at least a few more members. I mentioned this before, but I love it when you can log into the server and there's somebody else online. There's almost always somebody on the server that you can interact with or chat with or throw an idea at, or even if you come up with something silly and you just want to try something, you can log on the server and just say, like, hey, what are you doing right now? Can we do this thing? And a lot of times that person will say, yeah, sure, let's go do it. And it might be something silly, or it might be something great, and you never know what you're going to get. But as I said, I'd like to have a few more members on IgnitorSMP, so maybe 25. Let's call it 25. If you could do a collaborative series with one other creator, who would it be and what would it be? Great question. Right now, at this point in my life, I think I would have to choose, and there are so many, like this is crazy. I thought about this question way too much. I'm gonna pick Tango Tech. And I know it's kind of like a no-brainer because I'm working on this big decked out clone thing right now, but honestly that's not it. I love the Redstone stuff, but I love the creativity and the insanity that Tango brings to his series. And this doesn't say like one-off video, this says series. If I was gonna do a collaborative series with somebody, I would do something like Create Mod with Tango. Something that ideally neither of us had ever done before. And I know he's done a Create Mod series before. I've never done Create Mod, but seeing his joy and energy in discovering the different parts of the Create Mod, I think that really appealed to me. And I love his passion. I love his dedication. I think he played in that world, building trains and setting up, automated systems way more than anybody else did in that series. And that really appeals to me because he's the type of person who sets his mind to something and then just goes for it and just doesn't stop until it's done. And I love that, and I want to do that. So I'd pick Tango. That's, like I said, that's today. I would be just as happy to do a series with Impulse SV or B-Dubs, building, or Mumbo, Redstone, or hundreds, Doc M77 on some crazy scientific thing. You know what? Basically any of the Hermits, just because I think they all bring something really awesome to the table, and I think any one of them would be amazing to collab with. What's your favorite donut flavor? Out of character for me, I know. Yes, Jay, that is very out of character for you, being a donut and all. But if I had to pick a donut, my favorite donut is called the Cherry Stick from Tim Hortons here in Canada. You gotta try it. It's fantastic. Why are you wearing a suit in your skin? Back when I first started making YouTube videos, even though I was playing Minecraft for more or less the first time and I didn't really know what I was doing, I have spent many times in my life being authority or teacher on a particular subject. And I knew at some point, or I figured at some point, I'd be making tutorial videos on the stuff that I was learning to do. And so early on, I kind of imagined myself as being a teacher. When I started watching Minecraft videos, I was watching people play Minecraft and learning to play Minecraft just how people played. And I thought, if I can present myself professionally enough, I can show every step of the way. And even some of the things I'm doing for the first time myself, I'm learning. I'm teaching others at the same time how to do what I'm doing and showing them that it's easy and it's fun to do the kinds of things that I was doing in Minecraft. And so, for me, the ideal version of that teacher was wearing a suit. And so, very simple. I chose to wear a suit on my skin because I thought that would be the easiest, quickest way for me to establish myself as, hey, I'm somebody that knows what he's talking about. you can trust me because, I'm not going to lead you astray. You can learn from me. You can learn from my mistakes even. But more often than not, if I do make a mistake, I'm going to catch it and I'm going to tell you how to fix it. So I'm a teacher. That's basically what it is. What is your proudest moment to occur in the IgnitorSMP community? For me, my proudest moments are when I can gather, or we can gather, everybody on the server together in one place at the same time. That's nearly impossible. Everyone has different schedules, whether it's sleep schedules or work schedules or whatever. It's almost impossible to get more than about 5 or 6 or 7 people on the server at one time, even if you're going to have a big event. But when we have the start of season, you can go back to the very first episode of every IgnitorSMP season. Well, I guess for me, my season 1 started later than everyone, so I didn't get to be a part of the big start group. But for the start of season 2 and for the start of season 3, we managed to get like 18 to 20 people all together in one place at the same time so that we could record our intro. And that to me is amazing because I know for me, it was the middle of the afternoon, but for somebody like Onyx, it was the middle of the night. He was up at like 4 o'clock in the morning just because he decided, I have to be there for this, and we told everybody hey, if you can come, just put an appearance, just say hello. When we say go, run off into the woods, you can cut your video, you can go back to sleep. And then you can get up the next day and actually do the stuff that you want to do if you want to. But just be there for the beginning. I love that everybody makes the time to come together. They put everything else aside and tell their friends, hey, listen, I need this time to be available to do something specifically for IgnitorSMP. And I love that. So all of those are my favorite moments. So most recently, the first episode of season 3, at the very beginning when I got to do the little speech, welcome to season 3. That was my proudest moment. Dark John asks, how did you land on your video intro, especially the I'm doing fantastic, thanks for asking part? You know what, Dark? Thanks for asking. This actually took way more research than I had intended to do. I spent like a couple hours going through videos, and it all started back in January of 2020 when I started doing season 2 of my modded Minecraft series, and I wanted to experiment and try to find a new intro that I could use. So over the first few episodes, I really started to pick and choose what parts I liked, starting with the very first episode.
Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome to another very exciting episode.
By the time I got to episode 6, I knew something wasn't quite working, so I thought I would try to shake it up a lot.
Yo ho, yo ho. Yo ho, me hearties. Yo ho. I'm sorry, I'm still experimenting with how I want to introduce myself in these videos, and that seemed like a good candidate for today. How are you, my favorite people in the world?
You notice I did ask, how are you, in that clip, so I was really trying to understand this dynamic between me being a content creator and delivering content, and also receiving feedback from comments or from the viewer. But by episode 12, I had this.
Greetings, all you beautiful people out there. How are you today? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking.
Which was very close to the intro that I'm still using today, although I was very aware that this was a one-way relationship, as evidenced in episode 14.
How you doing? That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad you're doing fine. At least I hope you're doing fine. Can't really hear you.
I must have been influenced by Rendog around this time because my intro started to take on that sort of feel.
Hello, my beautiful people out there in the wide, wonderful interwebs. How are you today? I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
After that, I started to make it my own, and I knew I didn't want to say interwebs, so I settled on this.
Hello, my beautiful people out there in Computerland. How are you today? I'm great. Thanks for asking.
And finally, with episode 23, I landed on the closest one to my modern intro to date.
Hello, my beautiful people out there in Minecraft land. How are you today? I am spectacular. spectacular. I bet you thought I was going to say fantastic, didn't you? Well, I am. I'm fantastic. How are you? Good. I am glad to hear it. Thanks for asking, by the way.
Okay, that was super duper close. Now here is what I might consider to be the real thing, only there's a few cows in the way.
Hello, my beautiful people out there smashed into a mushroom in Minecraft land. How are you today? I am fantastic. Aside from being smashed around by a bunch of mushrooms, I'm fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Truthfully, I never quite got there with my modded series, but less than a year later, in December of 2020, when I started my very first vanilla series, that's when I landed on the intro that I would consider to be the modern intro that I still use today. Well, hello, all you beautiful people out there in Minecraft land. How are you today? I am fantastic. Thanks for asking. By the way, it's interesting to note that even though I replaced all of the music that you've seen in all of the clips so far, I was using the same music all the way back at the beginning of my modded series that I'm using today. And that's the music that you're hearing right now. When you're not Minecrafting, what does rest and relaxation look like for VidMC? That's a great question. What does rest look like? I wouldn't really know. I am basically a self-proclaimed workaholic. I work from pretty much the time my brain starts working in the morning, which can take some time, up until the time my brain stops working at night and I just can't work anymore. Usually, 9 or 10 or 11 o'clock at night when my brain stops working for the night, that's when I will switch into, I guess, relaxation mode, and I'll watch YouTube videos or watch movies and TV shows. I'm a huge fan of movies. I always have been, and I try to keep up on the newest, episodic TV stuff that's out, stuff like Fallout, stuff like Halo, The Acolyte, all that kind of stuff I like to watch. And then when I'm ready for bed, I usually spend about 10 minutes in the hot tub. I have a hot tub now, so I just go sit in the hot tub for a few minutes, and then I spend another 10 minutes kind of sitting on my deck in the backyard just cooling off, which is nice. And then I go to bed, and maybe I'll play, a game or two on my phone for like 15 minutes before bed, but that's it. I don't spend any huge amount of time before bed. And then I sleep. And when I wake up, I'm usually groggy. I'm not a morning person. I hate mornings. I don't think I sleep very well. So it takes me probably like an hour or more to actually wake up to be functional. And then I get straight into work again for the day. Don't ask me what I do during that first hour, because I don't even know. I think I just stumble around trying to wake up. All right, pop quiz. Microsoft has gone rogue and closed down Mojang, effective immediately. All Minecraft accounts are closed. What would your next game of choice be, if any? What do you do? So this might come as a bit of a shock to you, but I have no idea. I'm not really much of a gamer. I only play Minecraft. That's really all I do. So if Minecraft were to suddenly vanish, I'm not even sure what I would do. Once in a while, and when I say once in a while, I mean like once every 6 months, I'll fire up a game like GTA 5. I was going to say GTA 3, but no, it's definitely 5. Yeah, I forgot the name of the game. That's how long it's been since the last time I played the game. And I run around and do some missions, or mostly I like to mess around in multiplayer and sneak into the army base and steal the plane. That's always the fun thing for me to do. But that's it. I really don't play anything else. Is there anything in Minecraft you've personally never done but want to get around to? Yes, absolutely. Do you think I can think of anything right now? No, not really. I just know in terms of what I've done in the game, probably 20% of what you can do in the game, and there's lots of stuff to do. I've never drained an ocean monument. That's just the first thing I thought of. I'm not sure I ever want to, but I've just never done it. I have built a world eater now. That was on my list, and I did that this season, so I'm pretty happy about that. Building one of those high-tech, like super scientific-y Minecraft machines that does something, and I don't even care what it does, is high on my list. Whether it's, like a world eater that instantly deletes tons of blocks, or whether it's a machine that teleports you 4 billion blocks away, something like that. There's a lot of things that I look at and go, ooh, maybe someday I would do that. I don't have anything on my list to do right this second. phone noises, but I'm sure there are lots of things. What's your most and least favorite blocks? You know what? I'm not blockist. I don't really care one way or the other. I don't have any particular dislike for, diorite or netherrack or any of the common things that people hate on. The blocks are blocks to me. One thing maybe I can talk about is scaffolding. I'm not a huge fan of scaffolding. I've just never really figured it out, I think. I mean, I think you really have to just sit and play with it one time, but I've just never done that. So for me, scaffolding is always dirt. That's what I use for scaffolding when I'm building. I do like gold. I can't really explain my fascination with gold, black and gold, like gilded blackstone, probably my favorite block in the game, if I had to pick one. It's really hard to obtain, and there's not really a lot of use for it in the game. I mean, yeah, you can use it to decorate, but if you wanted to make something large scale with gilded blackstone, A, you'd want to use it sparingly anyway, but B, you'd have to spend a lot of time collecting it, so I don't know. Are there any plans regarding server lore? Great question. We don't really have lore on our server. In fact, we kind of decided that this isn't really a lore server, or at least that lore isn't for everybody on the server. There are a lot of players who just want to come and they want to play Minecraft without getting bogged down in some sort of crazy story. That said, we do have many members who are lore people, and they do their own private lore. Sometimes they even collaborate on lore. But in terms of overall server lore, we don't really have any. We have experimented with it in the past before, but I'm not sure if everyone really bought into it, and a lot of people were kind of confused by what we were trying, and I think ultimately we decided to, it's probably better if lore is a very personal thing. Then, the people who want to play with lore can experiment with their own audience, and they don't have to bring it to the mass. What was your favorite thing to do or build during the crossover with Unorthoblocks? So yeah, we had a crossover in Season 2 with the Unorthoblocks server. It was very short. There was about a week where Unorthoblocks was on our server, and then there was a week where we were on their server. It felt very rushed to me, and so all I really had time to do was help some members of Unorthoblocks with a project that they had. So they wanted to build a casino on Unorthoblocks, and I got to help them do that by basically rebuilding a bunch of my casino machines that I had already built in Season 2 on the Unorthoblocks server, but with different block palettes and different currencies and things like that. So I really enjoyed doing that. The other thing is I really wanted to carve out a space for myself on that server, something that was like distinctly, VidMC. And luckily I made a deal with Bearded Teacher where he gave me one of the apartments in the building he was building. And so I changed out the windows to green and did a little bit of stocking of resources there, but it was only a week I was there. I didn't really have a whole lot of time. So I definitely am interested in more crossovers and longer crossovers in the future. But I guess if I had to pick one thing, it was the work I did on the casino. Have you considered that I may or may not have hidden a chicken in your base with a name tag? And if so, have you found said Schrodinger's chicken? Yes, I've considered that. Now, considering it more than anything because you've sent this message. But have I found it? No. Do I believe it exists? Not really. But yes, I'm considering all of the things. With you, Gonzal, there's not really any way to ever know. What nicknames do you have for the other Ignitors? Or what name do you have for yourself on Ignitor? I don't really pick strange names for people on the server. I usually just shorten their name. In fact, it's usually one of the first questions I ask when a new member joins our server is, what can I call you? So that I don't have to say Fedora Master 219. Can I just say Fedora? And they say, yeah, that's great. So, I mean, everybody on the server has a shortened version of their name. 0 hours is 0. Black Shadow HRD is just Blackie. Cubically is Cubically, I guess, or I don't think anybody calls him Cube. Then there's Dano and Dark and Dippy, Gonzal, Jay, Indy, Ironite, Minion, Neat Vries, I started calling her NV just because it was Neat Vries, NV. And so Envy, it was just very fast, and I didn't have to try to pronounce Neat Vries in her accent. So Envy was fun, and then a lot of people started calling her Envy as well. So that's just a thing. Onyx, painting thing we just call PT because it's easy. PT. Skunk we call Skunk, and then there's Solo, Star, Wind, and me, Vid. In terms of my own nicknames, I think a few different people have called me things. Dippy had something that she called me, something pink, early in the season when I had my pink suit. I can't remember exactly what it was. Dano calls me Uncle Vid, just because usually when she's streaming and runs into trouble, I'm the guy who comes in and rescues her. And so I started saying, yeah, Uncle Vid to the rescue. And she just picked up on that. And now every time she sees me, she goes, Uncle Vid! What is it about Minecraft that you think makes it different than other games? And why does it have such continued success and longevity? For me, that's an easy question. It's a sandbox game, and it's a simple sandbox game. It's a game that, unlike pretty much any other game, you log in, you do something, you make changes to the world, whether that's collecting items or physically building something, and then you leave, and when you come back, it's still there. It's also multiplayer, so other people can build with you or see what you've built. You could be inspired by other people, and every single block in the game you can use to build with. There are other games out there that let you build, but sometimes the parts are small, or they're misshapen, or they don't quite fit. But in Minecraft, it fundamentally comes down to a simple thing, which is like a block. And honestly, it reminds me a lot of something like Lego, where because everything is just a block, you can build anything in the world you want to, and you already know in your head that you have that limitation, that it's not really going to look like the thing you're building, so you have to use your imagination a little bit because it's going to be blocky. But as soon as you kind of step back and accept that everything you build is going to be blocky, then using just blocks to build your thing is so powerful and so inspiring to a lot of people. And I think that's why it's, the most popular game in the world. How tall are you in real life? I am 5'8". So average height at this part of the world. If something awful happened and Ignitor closed down, would you start a new SMP or would you go solo? I think, I don't think Ignitor will close down per se. I am the server administrator for IgnitorSMP. I technically own the server and the website and all of those things. So, Ignitor wouldn't close down per se unless I was the one closing it down. So I can't necessarily say, what would I do if Ignitor closed down? Well, I wouldn't close Ignitor down, so that wouldn't happen. What would I do if every member just suddenly decided to leave? Okay, they could do that. Maybe I would close down Ignitor. It really depends on why everyone chose to leave. Most likely, I think the answer that you're looking for here, most likely I would either continue with Ignitor and trying to build a brand new player base, or I would start a new SMP on the same server, on the same framework, but maybe with a different name, and again, build from scratch. I like playing Minecraft, so I will always continue to play Minecraft. I like making videos, and as long as I'm gonna play Minecraft, I might as well be making videos on playing Minecraft. And I like playing with other people, so it makes sense for me to have a server, invite other people to play with me. And so would I, start a new SMP or would I go solo? Definitely SMP is the way to go. Multiplayer is the answer for me. Even when I was playing in my solo single player world, I remember, pretty much every build thinking of how much better I could make it if there were other people around that I could share that with, or, that they could become a part of my world somehow. So definitely for me, playing with other players is the way to go. Do you play any other games other than Minecraft today, computer or otherwise? Not really. I've kind of said earlier that I'm not really much of a gamer in terms of computer games. Grand Theft Auto 5 once in a while, but like every 6 months once in a while kind of thing. I play a couple mobile games on my phone before bed. But really, that's it. In terms of other things, like in real life, I am an enjoyer of Dungeons and Dragons. I have been on both sides of the DM screen. I've run games for people. I had a game that ran for about 3 years before we finally shut her down. And I also have another game that I'm playing in now with the same DM that's been running since, I want to say 2000-ish to maybe 2002. So, in the 20-year range. And it's on and off. We don't play every week or anything like that. Like sometimes, we'll play for like 5 or 6 weeks in a row, but then we'll take a 6-month break, But I do enjoy that when I can. Favorite redstone contraption. Do you mean my favorite redstone contraption that I've made, or my favorite redstone contraption? Since it just says favorite redstone contraption, I'm going to assume you mean something that somebody else has designed. And for me, that's easy. It's the Etho Hopper Clock. I love that thing. I use it pretty much every time I build a circuit or some variation of it. Maybe not the exact hopper clock, but the concept where you have a hopper blocked by a redstone block feeding into another hopper, and then at the end of the transition of items from one hopper to the other, you move the redstone block and they all go back. That simple concept that's found in the Etho Hopper Clock is fundamental to a lot of different circuits that I work on. I love that idea, and it's, for some reason, it's one of the very first things I go to when I'm building a lot of circuits, because a lot of them, timing based, you can use it. For number of items, counters, you can use it. It's really a versatile go-to circuit. So yeah, I think that's an easy one. What was your favorite kind of lore on IgnitorSMP? Well, Neat Freeze, you know the answer to this question already, but for the audience here, you gotta know, I'm not really much of a lore person. I kind of prefer no lore or very little lore. I do once in a while, just like to sprinkle a little something in just for fun, because it's fun. But I'm not like a huge, heavy story lore thing. I'm not building this giant redstone circuit because some alien monster told me I had to build it. I'm not in danger of, not fulfilling some sort of challenge if I don't finish this machine. It's just, I don't know, it's just not the kind of way that I play the game. I know other people do, and I know a lot of people have a lot of success with that sort of thing. It's just not really for me. What is your worst fear? Heights, open bodies of water, left shoes, etc. You know what? For many, many years, I didn't really have a big fear like that. Yeah, I don't love heights, but I'm not afraid of them or anything. Flying an airplane is always a little uncomfortable for me. I guess because I have a fear of crashing, not necessarily the flying part or the heights part. It's the hitting the ground part that kind of sucks. But I think now my biggest fear, and probably anybody who has kids will know this, it's something happening to your kid, right? That's the fear. If you could magic any other Minecraft content creators into joining IgnitorSMP, who would be your top 3 to cast that spell upon? I had to take a good 5 minutes to actually think about what I was going to say to this question, and I think my answer is going to be a non-answer of sorts. The truth is, I don't watch enough creators to really know the full scope of who's out there, who's available, or who would make a good addition to the server right now, even in this fantasy magic world. I mean, for me, it would be really easy to say, let me take, Mumbo Jumbo and Grian and, Impulse or Tango or Doc M77 or any of the Hermits, Skizzleman, they would be great. But the truth is, casting a magic spell and making these people suddenly join my SMP is much more consuming of my brain than it should be, because I'd be thinking, well, what would happen to Hermitcraft if I took away some of the hermits? I don't know if that's the right way to think about this question or not. Skip! Do you happen to know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man? Yeah, the Muffin Man. You mean the one who lives on Drury Lane? If you could make enough money from content creation, would you quit your day job and go all in on YouTube? The simple answer for me is no, I probably wouldn't. And let me tell you why. Content creation is a difficult job, like way, way harder than my normal day job. And it might not seem that way. It might seem like, oh, all you got to do is sit and play video games. But look at any content creator. I don't care which one you look at. Just pick any. And I'm talking about a full-time content creator. If you look at any content creator, you're going to see the same thing. You're going to see that they are constantly working day in, day out. They can't go out and eat. They can't go out and spend time with their friends. It's all about content creation. That's all they think about. That's all they have to think about, because they're worried that if their content dries up, then their channel dries up, then their income dries up. And it's always a constant grind to stay relevant and stay new and keep producing and just keep pushing. I don't need that. I don't. I'm getting up there in age, and I'm starting to look at retirement. And I'm thinking to myself, content creators can't retire. Like, you can't, because if you stop making content, your income goes away, like overnight. I mean, some people are going to have a large catalog of videos that people will continue to go back and watch, but that sort of continuous income from YouTube is not always going to be there. And what about taxes? What about pension? Like, what about, retirement savings and things? Like, are you able to make enough money to not only sustain yourself today while you're working, but also put money away so that when you stop working, you still have money to live off? Or are you just going to be stuck making content until the day you die? And for many creators, that might actually be the case. The reality is that content creation is such a brand new profession that we don't know what the retiring content creator is going to look like. And it's going to take some crazy thing to happen to somebody before we all wake up and go, oh man, I don't want that to happen to me. What do I do now? So simple, but not simple answer to your question is, would I quit my job and become a full-time YouTuber? No, not a chance. Nate Vries asks, what's your favorite tongue twister? My favorite tongue twister actually comes from a book that I used to read to my son called Fox in Socks by Dr. Seuss. And it goes a little something like this. Let's have a little talk about tweedlebeetles. What do you know about tweedlebeetles? Well, when tweedlebeetles fight, it's called a tweedlebeetle battle. And when they battle in a puddle, it's a tweedlebeetle puddle battle. And when tweedlebeetles battle with paddles in a puddle, they call it a tweedlebeetle puddle paddle battle. When beetles battle beetles in a puddle paddle battle, and the beetle battle puddle is a puddle in a bottle, they call this a tweedlebeetle bottle puddle paddle battle muddle. And when beetles fight these battles in a bottle with their paddles, and the bottle's on a poodle, and the poodle's eating noodles, they call this a bottle puddle tweedle poodle beetle noodle bottle paddle battle. And when a fox is in the bottle where the tweedle beetles battle with their paddles in a puddle on a noodle eating poodle, this is what they call a tweedle beetle noodle poodle bottled paddled muddled duddled fuddled waddled fox in socks, sir. How has playing on Ignitor changed over 3 seasons? I think the number one answer here is consistency. Consistency in the players themselves, consistency in the videos that are being produced by those creators, and just overall consistency. I feel like the people that I'm playing with right now on IgnitorSMP are gonna be the same people that I'm playing with in Season 4, in Season 5, in Season 6, because we've really got to that point where we have a solid group of people that really play well together. And, we might have 1 or 2 more people join us, or 1 or 2 people leave for various life reasons, whatever. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with where we're at. Back in Season 1, when we started IgnitorSMP, it was a free-for-all. Basically, it was just kids who didn't really know what they were doing, starting an SMP and opening up the floodgates to anybody who wanted to join. If you submitted an application, you got in, end of story. There was no content requirement. There was no background check to see if you had ever made a video before. And so we had a rough start, as you can imagine. In fact, I joined the server probably 2 months after it started, and there had already been probably 20 or 30 members come and go that I never even met in that time, because they came, they might have made 1 video, They might have built a house or something, and then they left. So there were all of these little spots around the server where there was traces of people and then just no people. There were a lot of names on the starter board of people's bases with coordinates that you could go, and these people didn't exist anymore. And I found out later a lot of these people were just friends of the original creator of the server, or people who had known people through people, or had maybe watched a live stream or something and decided that they wanted to be a part of this. And so that is, I think, the main fundamental difference, is that now we have a much stricter process for applying to the server, for understanding what's required of membership on the server, and of course the follow through, which is the consistency of the people that are on the server. So it's unusual now for us to get somebody on the server and then have them realize, oh man, this is much more than I bargained for, and then they leave, because they kind of already know that coming in. It does still happen, but it happens way, way less often. On top of that, the quality of the people that are in the server right now is leaps and bounds ahead of what we were dealing with in Season 1. People were not afraid to build bigger now, because back then, there were 50 builds that, they went up a little bit, or they didn't even go up at all. A large section of land would have been taken because somebody intended to build something there and they just never did. Or they'd build a great big ugly farm right in the middle of their space, and it just wouldn't fly on the server today. Everyone would be looking at that going, why did you build your giant mob farm out of dirt? It's ugly. So I really think the level of quality of the builds, as well as just the level of quality of the people, has increased significantly. Plus, of course, the video quality is increased significantly as well. People just, with practice, get better and better at making videos. The interactions are more fun. I think it's just a better experience overall now. What drew you the most to making redstone contraptions? This is actually an easy one for me. When I was in high school, some of the classes and courses that appealed to me the most were the electronics courses. So much so that I actually went to university and did an engineering degree in electrical and computer engineering. And I liked that so much that I ended up doing a master's degree. So I do have a master's degree in electrical and computer engineering. And in case you don't know, redstone follows many of the same rules and principles as electronics, whether it's digital electronics or analog electronics. There's a little bit of overlap between those two fundamental concepts. I love that stuff. I love flip-flops and monostable circuits, and even the word circuit. Like these things they come from the electronics world. So if you're hooking up wires, you can build a monostable circuit in real life. It's a real thing. So just having that ability to build electronic components in Redstone in another video game like Minecraft, super, super cool. I've always been creative in that regard, in the sort of engineering sense. I am an engineer, both by trade and by schooling, and even just in the way I think about things. I love designing machinery. That's really cool to me. And when I say machinery, I mean pieces that move, pieces that have inputs, that have processing and have output. That's a machine to me. And that stuff is built into Minecraft already. And when you can, build your own input systems and output systems and then processing systems in the middle, like, I don't know how not everybody could love that stuff, but I guess it's just not for everybody. Pineapple on pizza. Yes, I like pineapple on pizza. I wouldn't have pineapple on every pizza, but if you put a Hawaiian pizza in front of me that had ham and pineapple, I'm all over it. What quality of life mods are a must-have for you? That's simple. I could probably give you my top 3 or 4 mods right away. Mini HUD is a huge one for me. That was kind of the first one that I discovered. That allows you to put kind of a simple F3 type display on your screen that shows your coordinates, shows the biome you're in, shows things like the speed that you're traveling. It's advanced now so that you can show, say, the speed of a horse you're on, if you're trying to breed the fastest horse or something. Also easily configurable so you can show light levels, slime chunks, despawn spheres when you're building mob farms. So mini HUD, super versatile, gotta have, must have it. The second one, coincidentally by the same guy, Lightmatica, allows you to build something creative and then capture that object or build as a schematic. You might have heard this word schematic thrown around many, many times. And then you use that to bring it onto the server. It can give you a material list so you know what you have to collect. And then it'll basically draw it out for you in real 3D space so that you see what it's going to look like in place. You can position it exactly the way you want. And then you can use it to really easily build that thing or rebuild that thing layer by layer with the materials that you've gathered. So really cool mod. Not a cheaty mod, but some people think it's a little cheaty. I personally don't think it's cheaty at all because you still have to go through the process of collecting all the materials. You're really only saving yourself the time of trying to copy from one screen to another screen. It just kind of saves that and streamlines that process a little bit. The third mod, also coincidentally by the same guy, Tweakaroo. Tweakaroo has like 50 little tiny things in it that just make it invaluable in every situation. For example, it's got a shulker box preview where if you just hover over a shulker box in your inventory, you could see what's in the shulker box. Something that should be in the default game, it just isn't. Also, it's got an auto clicker built into it. It's got free cam built into it. Just so many little useful things. And in fact, probably I only use about 5 or 6 of these things. But there are 200 of them left that I probably don't even know all of the great things it can do. Hand restock, that's a good one. Imagine you're building and you've got a stack of cobblestone and you're trying to make a great big line. You've got 10 stacks of cobblestone in your inventory, but you've only got 1 in your hotbar because that's all that you can hold in your hand. As you place, you get to the end of your line of cobblestone and it automatically refills your hand from what's in your inventory. But like, it's simple stuff, right? But very, very powerful. I love Tweakaroo. So those are really my top 3 quality of life mods. Have you ever played other variants of Minecraft, like modded? Yes, I absolutely have. In fact, I started my Minecraft journey on YouTube playing a modded series. When I first got Minecraft, it was version 1.8 that was out at the time, and shortly after I bought Minecraft, it upgraded to 1.9. So I played vanilla for probably, a month or 2 months and really enjoyed the sort of early game in that. I didn't do anything complicated, like I didn't even fight the Ender Dragon or anything like that. I'm not even sure if I ever went to the Nether, to be honest with you. I don't even know if the Nether existed back then. But for me, it was all about, the survival stuff. So getting food, getting shelter, lighting up your base. And then once you had those, you were like, there, I'm set, I'm great. But then I started looking at when you're fighting mobs or trying to collect materials like for a build like cobblestone, there's got to be a faster way. So I started looking into modded Minecraft, and oh my god, the amount of mods that were available for 1.7 at the time was insane. So I basically went down the rabbit hole and played modded Minecraft for not just months, but years. And I never looked back at the vanilla game. Probably from the time 1.8 came out all the way up until 1.14 came out. That was the first time that I was ever inspired to come back to vanilla Minecraft. And I had been watching a lot of Hermitcraft at the time and some other creators as well that were doing vanilla series. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, it's possible to do a lot of crazy contraption type stuff that I was used to doing in modded in the vanilla game. Obviously not to the same level as you can in modded, but there was still a lot of ways to do stuff. And so I was really inspired to try building, like a cobblestone generator or a mob farm or something that you could really harness all of the drops and then collect them and put them through automatic sorting and stuff like that. I thought it was really interesting. And so yes, I have played other variants of Minecraft. In fact, I had, not on this current channel that you're watching now, but I actually have another secret Minecraft channel that only has 17 subscribers on it at the time I'm making this video. So if you find it, hey, feel free to subscribe to that channel. But I played modded Minecraft on that channel, and I switched to this channel and this persona, VidMC, specifically so that I could do vanilla Minecraft. On top of that, I think something about the modded game really takes away from the vanilla experience. And I don't really want to jump back into modded because I'm worried that I will ruin that experience for myself, because it's a lot easier to do things in modded Minecraft. Once you hit certain plateaus, you just have unlimited everything. And that's something that I don't like about modded. And so I like the limitations, I guess, that vanilla places on you. If you were in charge of Mojang for a month and could change one thing about the game, what would you change or add? Easy. Penguins. Add penguins. Maybe add, utility to the fletching table. All of the little things that should have been done. Concrete stairs and slabs. Dirt slabs. Vertical slabs. All of these things. Wait, I'm only allowed to pick one? Then it's penguins. Will Ignitor change the way for people to join the server? For example, like Hermitcraft, they invite specific players to join Hermitcraft. Do I see Ignitor becoming an invite-only server at some point in the future? Yes, I probably do. I think that's inevitable. I think there's gonna come a point where we grow so much that we can't have an application process anymore, because everyone will be applying to try to join. I mean, if Hermitcraft had an open application right now, can you imagine what would happen? They'd get hundreds of thousands of applicants a day to try to join Hermitcraft. And I'm not saying that we're gonna be as big as Hermitcraft, but I have a feeling that there will come a point where we grow so much that we can't have an open application anymore. We're almost at that point right now. I mentioned this earlier in the video. We did actually at one time in the past have an invite-only server, but we just found that we weren't getting any new applicants, obviously, because we didn't have an application at the time, and we needed to do some recruiting, and that was hard for us. But I think in the future it could definitely happen that we'd go to invite only. What's your favorite color? Blue. My favorite color is blue. If real life turned into Minecraft, what would you do? Kill a sheep and make a bed, and then survive the night, and then lots of villager trading. That's what I would do. How's your foot? Okay, I wasn't really going to tell this story, but I mean, it's relevant to right now. Probably won't matter to anyone, 10 years from now watching this video, but right now, today, just this last weekend, I had an issue where I woke up and my foot was extremely cramped. It was cramped all weekend long. I couldn't walk for like a day and a half, and then it got better, and now I'm fine. So, in answer to your question, my foot's fine. Thank you for asking. Real random question, what Lego set would you turn into a Minecraft build? I don't know, maybe this one? And final question, what gives you the motivation to make videos? That's a great question. I think for me, I just like making videos. That's just kind of something that I do. I have been a filmmaker in the past. I went to film school, actually. I enjoy the process of editing footage together and producing a final product. And I like telling stories. I like playing Minecraft. So for me, all of those likes kind of align together. And so it's really easy for me to say, play Minecraft, the game I'm going to play anyway, record Minecraft and talk about what I'm doing, because I like to talk, I like to teach, and then edit that information down into packageable content and then upload it. It's simple. So for me, the motivation is built into all of those separate components because they're all things that I enjoy doing. The only part of the content creation process that I'm not like absolutely in love with is the SEO part of it, the description, the title, the thumbnail, the tags, some of that stuff is the stuff that's like, okay, I guess I just have to do this. But I get satisfaction from doing that stuff because people watch my video. I like seeing the numbers go up when I upload a video. I like seeing more subscribers and more views and more watch hours. I like seeing that stuff. And so that stuff is enough to keep me motivated to actually produce that stuff and put effort into the stuff that I don't really care so much about, but I know is important. So we got a lot done this week, and thank you guys so much for sticking with me for almost an hour and 40 minutes. I hope you are still here, and if you are still here, well, I'm going to reward you. I promised at the very beginning that I would show off a brand new card, and there it is right down my inventory. I know you can't quite see it, but I am going to show it off. You guys watched me build in pretty much real time. So thanks for that, and I hope you got some interesting insight into what it means to be VidMC. Okay, let's go check out the brand new card. Whee! And back down now where we have our other cards that we've released in previous weeks. Ready to show off the brand new card, and here it is in my inventory. It is called ESP, and this is the first single-use card. That's what that little symbol means up there. It also says single-use right across here, just in case you're wondering. Single-use cards, as the name implies, can only be used one time. If you put this card in your deck and it gets processed during the game, then effectively you lose this card. But that does mean you are probably going to get some pretty cool effects. Check this out. This is a common card, but you're going to block 2 noise, block 2 alarms, and add 4 treasure to the queue. All of those things happen all at one time when the card is actually played. I think that's going to be a very, very cool, very powerful card. And I'm hoping to see a lot of them played as well. So that, my friends, is where I am going to end this episode. You can see I got a lot built this episode, but it didn't get nearly as much as I really wanted to get built. I mean, it's hard to place 80,000 blocks in a single episode, right? So I don't even know what I'm up to at this point, but I'm up to this layer. And the next thing to start building is everything that goes above this ground layer, which is the castle, which goes up above it. If you liked this episode, hey, do me a favor, click the like button. You can click that right now. And if you want to see more great episodes like this, check out the playlist that's on the description right now. And I guess that's all I'm going to ask for this time around. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.